In this edition of the Peace Talk series, I shall tell you about innocence. The civil war has just ended. The people of Umozu did not see Nigerian soldiers. They heard, one Nigeria, one Nigeria. Soldiers were running around, but no one was hurt. The people of Umozu participated in the Biafran war by sending their able-bodied young men to the war front. Those who could not go to the war front participated in the militia, vigilante, and Red Cross. Innocent was one of those who participated in the Red Cross. There was so much hunger and starvation. The people of Umozu were suffering because of the war. Children were suffering from the shock. People were dying. Innocent saw these things and was touched. And he set out with two of his friends to go to Utru to meet Mr. Limport to look for aid for his people. They set out on a bicycle all the way from Umozu to Utru. When they got to Utru, Mr. Limport was not available. They slept under the Hamatan blizzard till the night. The next day, when they met Mr. Limport, Innocent explained to Limport the needs and problems of his people. Mr. Limport told them to go back home and set up a sick bay. Innocent went back with his friends, Mr. Madi and Mr. Njoku, and set up the sick bay. As promised, Mr. Limport arrived in Umozu with drugs and food. You can imagine, in the time of war, drugs and food was very important. So as soon as Mr. Limport arrived, they set to work. The nurses started attending to the sick ones, and Innocent and his people were giving food to people, to the elders, to the young ones. And people started getting well. The children started looking good. Unknown to Mr. Innocent, his cousin, Mr. Kwedike, was eyeing him. And Mr. Kwedike decided or concocted lies with his godson, Mr. Ikekwe, and presented the false information to Mr. Limport. When Innocent heard this, he ignored them and continued to work. But due to pressure mounted on Limport by Mr. Kwedike and his godson, Mr. Ikekwe, Mr. Limport arrived in Umozu and sacked Innocent and his group. Innocent was very sad. So Mr. Kwedike took over the coordination of the sick bay. The first thing he did was to carry the drugs and the food home. You can imagine what he did with that. Mr. Kwedike sold the drugs and the food, and the people started dying again. When Innocent was managing the sick bed, nobody died. But when Mr. Kwedike started managing the place, people started dying. Children started suffering from shock again. And Mr. Kwedike was not yet finished with Innocent. He concocted another lie. He told the elder that Innocent brought policemen who ransacked his house looking for the drugs. And he brought two false witnesses to the elder's forum. They met in Mr. Kwedike's house. At the time of the meeting, one of the witnesses disappeared. The other one witness explained that he heard with his ear, but he did not see the policemen. He just heard that policemen came to ransack Mr. Kwedike's house. But as far as seeing them, he did not know about that. And so the elders were confused, but yet they could not bring themselves to deliver justice and tell Mr. Kwedike that he has goofed. Do you know what they did? They called the villagers to their Nkwo area, their Nkwo marketplace, and they gathered there. And there, they took the offer and they hid the offer on the ground and said, let the guilty ones die. Mr. Innocent was very sad. When everybody walked to their home after this, an Innocent put everything in the hands of God. He could not imagine how people who have been through the ravages of war, people who had he had given so much for, he had sacrificed so much for, could not say one good thing about him. But he did not hold a crime against them. He continued to have them. The moral of this story is that we need to be persistent when we're making peace, despite challenges in life, that we must continue to do our work. Now, ask that we continue to say, let there be peace on earth, and let it be. Edition of my Peace Talk series, I present to you another story of Innocent. You remember Innocent?
Yes.
The man that I told you that helped his people during the war with Red Cross, but his uncle, Mr. Ipredike, connived and took away the coordinatorship of Red Cross in his village. I was privileged to meet Innocent again. And when I met him, I discovered that he had not changed. He still had those peaceful attributes about him. And this time around, I had something else happen to Mr. Innocent. You can imagine that. His nephew, Onyema, who lived with him in his house, helping him, poisoned Innocent. I was told that the real target of Onyema's poison was both Innocent and his wife. But fortunately, the fateful night this happened, Amarachi Innocent's wife did not feel like eating, so she did not take the meal. Innocent ate the food alone.
In the middle of the night, Innocent started feeling pain. And his wife Amarachi got up and was trying to help him. With every minute passing by, Innocent was feeling much pain. He was turning and nothing that his wife could do could help him. Fortunately, Amarachi thought about giving Innocent oil. And as soon as Innocent took the oil, he started purging and purging until he purged the entire poison. He had himself back. He felt better. In the morning, Amarachi called their children and told them what had happened. The children were so infuriated that they wanted Onyema to be sent home to his parents immediately. Ugomma, Innocent's daughter, called her friend and had told her friend what had happened to her parents. Her friend advised her to get Onyema arrested immediately. But Ugomma thought about what his father would like. And Ugomma decided to call her father and tell her father to send Onyema back at once. But Innocent dialogued with Ugomma and suggested that Onyema should be sent home in 2 weeks' time. Ugomma did not agree with this. They dialogued some more and eventually agreed that Onyema will go home immediately he finishes his term examination, which was in 2 days' time. And so, Innocent took Onyema back to his parents on the Saturday following his examinations. When Innocent returned from taking Onyema back, he told his family, his wife and children, that he did not tell Onyema's parents about the poison behavior. The children were once again angry. They wondered why their father is like this, why he couldn't spill the bean to Onyema's parents. But Innocent calmed them down. He told them that he would tell Onyema's family when everything had calmed down. He wanted peace to be in their family. You will remember that Onyema's father is Innocent's brother, because Onyema is his nephew. So eventually, the family calmed down and they didn't do anything again.
And the question I ask you, my dear, is, if you were innocent, would you react like him? If you were Amarachi, would you react to your husband's behavior like Amarachi did? In life, we're faced with challenges, but we mustn't follow them up with things like capital punishment, like people will suggest. You know, capital punishment refers to death penalty. We mustn't approach them by force or violence. We can use peaceful way. Peace should be paramount in our dealings. And as I'm talking about this, I remember another family who met me the other day. And this family came to tell me that they have found the person who poisoned their son. And they told me that they will push for their plan to excommunicate this man and his children and his entire family. The question I asked them was, will excommunicating your own blood brother bring back your dead son? They said no. Then I said to them,
Why do you want your blood brother dead? Think about the legacy left by your son. Think about the peace your son tried to instill in the family. And I say to myself, how I wish these families can choose a peaceful way to manage their challenge. How I wish these families can come up with a way to deal with this issue rather than excommunicating their own brother. And the real thing is, I want to encourage you to think about peaceful ways all the time, to think about better ways to manage conflict. You don't want to have someone else die because he has killed somebody. We have examples of icons in our world who have displayed peaceful attributes. One of them is Pope John Paul II. You know him. That Holy Father, he was shot by a young man. And what did he do? He went to the prison and forgave that young man who shot him. We also have another example in Mother Teresa of Calcutta. Her own peaceful way was shown in the way she cared for the less privileged. There is even people among us who have done this. There's a Mary that I know who forgave the person who shot her only son. For it is in giving that we receive. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned. And it is in giving of ourselves that we earn eternal life. I want to encourage you to think of peace. And as I think of this, I remember the mission of Godfrey Okoye University. The mission states, Girl University is dedicated to imparting quality education aimed at inculcating in students strong personality that will ensure the promotion of religious, cultural, and epistemological dialogue. This mission captures different elements of what makes peace. You can imagine in our country, Nigeria, we have so many religious groups. We have the Muslims, we have the Christians. Even among Christians, we have different groups, denominations. In terms of culture, we have several cultural groups. When we talk about epistemological dialogue, we're talking about different fields of learning. So we must understand that there needs to be unity of knowledge. And if this university, Godfrey Okoye University, succeeds in imparting in students these attributes of religious, cultural, and epistemological dialogue, they would have raised ambassadors of peace. We have more peacemakers in this world, and our country will indeed experience peace. And therefore, I ask you to join me. I encourage you to go for peace, to love people, to forgive those who have hurt you, and to always make a stand for peace. As I ask you to continue to stay with me, let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. I believe in peace.
We believe in peace.